So good morning, class, and welcome to the session. And let's see how many people have joined. So 14 people. Let's wait for a few minutes. Normally the count is around 20, 22. So let's wait for a few minutes while others join. Did people practice on some data sets which I had shared?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
कैसा रहा एक्सपीरियंस? वर यू गाइस एबल टू डू? मतलब कर पा रहे थे या कोई अलग बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज आया? हो रहा था? तो ठीक है, चलो।
Sir,
हाँ,
so,
tell me, tell me.
one data set is there, na sir, trade inventory. So in that, sir, they have taken the data of 1 month of all the years. So when we do fit, na sir, then it is giving means when it is fitting, na, then it is giving of full 12 months. So how do we take it for means like 1 month or something?
When we are doing it, which is the name of the data set? Tell me.
Trade inventory.
Trade inventory. Okay, just give me a minute. First of all, let me open the data. Trade inventory.
Means we have to just predict for 1 month next 1 month of next year. But sir, if you means like take m is equals to 12 na, then it is giving like for all the 12 months. And if I don't give 1 is equals, sorry, m is equals to 1 also na, then also it is giving me like for all the 12 months.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, एक सेकंड देखते हैं. So trade inventory for, so the data starts from 01/01/1997 and it goes till 12/01/18. So basically you have the data for 1997 and 1998. And ये data कैसा है? Monthly data है कैसा? 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then 01, 1998, then 1999, then 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 2018 तक है this data, no? From 1997 to 2018, so almost 20 years का data है. And for each year, they have taken what? For each year, they have taken the monthly data. Okay, so month comes first. 0102 means it is the first month. Okay, so month and then followed by the day. Fair enough, no problem. Okay. Achha, and Vaishnavi, what you are saying is, कहाँ गया तुम्हारा PGA 32? Okay, so this is PGA 32. Tell me what you are saying. It is you want to do prediction only for 1 month.
Yes.
Then you control this thing, na? Start and it. You give a start at the start. So, for example, how many records do you have? You have till 265. So you give 265, 266 or 265, 265. Do some trial and error. So control using this thing, na? Start and end. You should be able to.
Okay, sir.
Na?
Yes.
See, basically keep one thing in mind. Now, see, how did we build our model? So while building the model, first of all, I taught you what is ARIMA and all those things. But now you can skip ARIMA and everything. You can directly go with SARIMA. Okay, because we already know that SARIMA can, or SARIMA X can rather build any model. It can build SARIMA also, ARIMA also, SARIMA X also. So directly use auto ARIMA and go for your SARIMA X model. Okay. So ARIMA and everything, it is just for theoretical purpose. So let's say if someone asks you, because uh, maybe 15 years back, ARIMA was a good thing when SARIMA was not there. But we know that ARIMA has a special drawback, that is it cannot handle the seasonality. So directly let's use our SARIMA X. So even if seasonality is not there, we can still use our SARIMA X. Only thing is if seasonality is not there, then you can control this thing seasonal order. Okay. So control this thing you're starting. And I think you should be able to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? आज लोग थोड़ा कम दिख रहे हैं, only 16 people. Session is online. I hope आज कोई class institute नहीं visit कर रहा है, because even I am at home and आज के दिन घर से बाहर निकलना थोड़ा risky हो सकता है. Lot of traffic restrictions. Let's wait for 2 more minutes and then probably we'll start. Okay, guys, so let's get started. So before we start any further, let's build the agenda for today. That is not normally, so that people get an idea what we are going to do. Okay. So I think we have already set the agenda in the last class. So basically, we'll continue with time series as of now. And we will do our 2 testing, ADF test, that is your augmented Dickey-Fuller test. And then we will do our KPSS test. So these tests are for checking the stationarity. checking the stationary. Okay. So probably I think it will take around an hour, not more than an hour, a little less than an hour. And then probably we'll start with our neural networks. Okay. So we will start with the theory of neural networks, simple theory. We'll start with simple. I'm not sure the theory is simple. Theory is actually complicated. And it may just keep on going for 8 to 10, 12 hours. So many things will be coming. And but yes, we have to cover that, and then probably we'll start with the code. So a new theory, new type of theory, and obviously it would be very interesting. But as of now, let's get started with this thing, ADF test. And so everyone, please open the time series notebook, and let's get started. So ADF test. So ADF test stands for your augmented Dickey-Fuller test. Augmented Dickey-Fuller test. Okay. So it is a statistical testing. In ADF, HO is that series is not stationary. This is my null hypothesis that series is not stationary. Everyone, please make a note of it. So in ADF test, you cannot change the null. Even if you want to change the null, so like in your chi-square, in your ANOVA, the null is fixed. So similarly, over here, the null is fixed. You can't change it. Okay. Can you move ahead, class? आगे बढ़े. भूपेश, ध्रुव, कार्तिक, लौकिक, बताओ.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
Okay. Everyone, please make a note of this line. है ना? उसका null याद रखना सब लोग, and try remembering it. Okay, that what is a null in your this thing. Okay.
Done, sir.
Okay. कहाँ है भाई ADF test? So from a stats model.tsa.stats tool, import your ADF Fuller, and let's run it on the data set. So read some file. Pandas is not defined. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll say ADF Fuller. ADF Fuller AFS. Okay, so it will give me many values. Okay, so basically read your file, this thing, and then what we can do is we can see this thing. ये रिटर्न क्या करता है? It returns your ADF test p value. So second value is your p value. Used, lag, knobs, critical values, dictionary. Okay, so basically this is your p value. Okay, so p value is this thing. सब लोग please यहाँ तक करो. Read your file. Okay, and then let's run it. And let me know once you have done it. Let me know, guys, once you have done it.
Done, sir.
Okay. Done? No, see, this thing I have already told you that if you don't understand what are the values written, you can just read the documentation and you can see the returns. So in returns, first of all, it is doing your ADF calculated value. We are only supposed to focus on the p value. So p value is your second. So this value is your p value. So basically over here, the second number corresponds to p value, which is 0.991 in this case. So what should we do? Shall we reject the null or shall we fail to reject the null? Batao, guys.
Sir, we failed to reject the null.
We fail to reject the null, and why?
Sir, because value is greater than 0.05.
Yes, that's absolutely right answer. Since p value is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the null. We fail to reject the null, which in short means null is still valid. Okay, so if you fail to reject the null, it means null is still valid. And what was the null? Null over here is that series is not stationary. So if I say that now my confusion is series is not stationary. Okay. And if you remember in the last class, and if you plot it also, you will see that series is not stationary. Okay. So something like the almost similar thing you will are getting over here, that series is not stationary. Okay. Series is not stationary is the final outcome. Okay. Fail to reject the null. Vedant said yes. Vedant. What you said is absolutely. Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's create a let's do one thing. Let's create a program. DEF. प्रोग्राम का नाम क्या रखें भाई लोगों बताओ. Give me some अच्छा सा नाम. I can't take ADF folder because it has a special name. Let me say ADF test. Okay. Def ADF test, and let's do one thing. इसके अंदर में हम इस प्रोग्राम को कॉल कर देते हैं ADF test, and we say input series. Okay. इसके अंदर एक input series डाल देते हैं, and then what we will do is we will do ADF input series. I'll say then I have to store many values. You know? ADF this, so this is 0, 1. So let me say 0 and 1. So this will become my P value equal to this. Then let's do one thing. If P value is less than or equal to 0.05, and let me say if just less than 0.05, then let's do one thing. Print P value is P value. Okay, print since the P value is less than 0.05, we reject the null. Print series is stationary. Okay. Else, what we can do is 3 line को copy कर लेंगे. P values, since P values is greater than P fail. Series is not stationary. Series is not stationary. Let's do one thing. Let's invoke this function, and in input let's pass this thing here passenger, और देखते हैं कि ये हमें proper output देता है कि नहीं. So P value is this. Since P value is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the null. Series is not stationary. Okay, so fair enough. So basically, if you want, you can write this piece of code. So this will help you in making the quick judgment. So it will give you the proper message and the final conclusion also. And it will also tell you if you are rejecting or fail to reject the null, then what's the reason behind it. I think similar type of thing we have done for our as far as I remember, we have done for chi-square and ANOVA also. So we have written our own line. So basically, I am still invoking the ADF program, which is there in your Python, but adding on to it. Okay.
So can you put this code on the chat?
No. Answer is no. Either you code it or otherwise it's very simple one, ना? क्यों चाहते हो कि मैं इसे चैट पर रखूं? वैसे ही मैं तुम लोग को लेजी बना दे रहा हूँ, तुम लोग और लेजी बनना चाह रहे हो, ये तो बात ठीक नहीं होगी। लेट मी डू डिफरेंसिंग। एयर पैसेंजर टेस्ट डिफरेंसिंग में क्या प्रॉब्लम आ गई भाई? अच्छा, contains nan. अच्छा, see guys, basically over here the issue is when you do the differencing, na, when you do the differencing, so the first record would be NaF, right? So what I can do is if I say drop Na, then let's see what happens. So let's pass this. इसको pass करते हैं and let's see what's the p-value. P-value is 0.0542. Since p-value is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the null. Series is not stationary. Achha, now guys, so basically I hope people can understand what I am doing at line number 15. The original data was not stationary, so I have done a differencing. Now, do you notice the p-value was very high, 0.99, and it has come down to 0.05. It has come down to 0.05. 0.0542 something. So it is still greater than 0.05. So statistically, we say that we fail to reject the null statistically. But if you notice that this 0.05 is very much close to 0.05. It is very much close to 0.05. So in a way, you can say that series is now stationary. Okay, so you can assume that you have made your series stationary. Okay, so at 5%, you are still, you say that we failed to reject the null. But let's say at 10% of error margin. At 10% of error margin, instead of comparing with 0.05, you would have compared with 0.1, and then you could have reject the null. Okay. Let's do differencing once more. So at second level of differencing, it says that your series has become stationary. We reject the null, series is now stationary. Okay. Can you move ahead, guys? Sab log please try karo, invoking your original and your this thing. Guys, let me know once you have done it.
Done, sir.
Done,
sir.
Done? Okay. Ajay, at coded line number 10, I hope people are able to understand this simple line of code, right? It is nothing but your if and else.
Sir?
Yes, tell me.
Sir, I was absent on Monday, so are we working on the same data set as you were supposed to thought Sarima? Yeah.
Are we working on the same data set? No.
AirPass.
Air passenger, ये है data set तुम्हारे पास?
Oh yeah, I have that.
हाँ, तो हमने वही use किया. You
Okay,
can use any data set, but in this example, I have used this one. If you don't want to use this one, you use your anything.
So are we done with Sarima or it is still going on?
Sarima तो हमने last class में कर लिया था. Today we are discussing ADF test and we are discussing a KPSS test. So these tests are used to find whether the data is stationary or not. Or sorry, I'll not say data, but series is stationary or not.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has nothing to do with Sarima or Arima.
Okay, okay. ठीक है, thank you.
Okay. Now let's do a KPSS test. Okay. KPSS test for to check if the series stationary or not. Okay. So keep one thing in mind, KPSS test and ADF test. They are two different tests, but for the same purpose. दोनों का purpose same है. ठीक है. So this KPSS and please कोई जन मेरे से KPSS का full form नहीं पूछेगा. I can't just remember the full form. But yes, KPSS के बारे में जाकर थोड़ा सा Google कर लो. KPSS टेस्ट और देखो क्या KPSS का क्या ये नाम है इसका Phillips. ठीक है. So it has been named after the person probably who designed this test. Kip was Kip Phillips Schmidt test whatever. ठीक है. So 1992 में I think ये टेस्ट आया है. Okay. Yeah. So explore, try reading some Wikipedia, whatever you wish to read, and I will directly move toward the test. So copy this thing, put over here, press your tab, and probably you should be able to see KPSS कहीं तो भी. ये आ गया. Okay, now note. In KPSS, null hypothesis is that series is stationary. Okay, in KPSS, null is that series is stationary. In ADF, it was not stationary. So basically, null in KPSS and ADF are just opposite. And if null is opposite, then alternate has to be opposite without any doubt. Null in KPSS and ADF are just opposite. एक में है not stationary, दूसरे में है stationary. Apart from this, nothing, no other change probably you're supposed to do. Just take KPSS and pass your data. Let's see what's the answer. ये आंसर किस फॉर्मेट में देता है. So ये क्या बोल रहा है भाई? Actual p value is smaller than p value written. Okay. So I guess the p value, let's see. The p value is, what does it returns? क्या क्या चीजें return करता है भाई साहब? Okay. So p value. Okay. So the second value corresponds to your p value. So the second value is your 0.01. Okay. So I'll say p value is 0.01 in this case, which is less than 0.05. So we reject the null. So we reject the null. And what was the null? Null was that series is stationary. Null was that series is stationary. But since we are rejecting the null, final conclusion or just conclusion is that series is not stationary. Okay. Series is not stationary. So from KPSS and from ADF, you are getting the similar answers. Only thing is in one of them you reject the null. In one of them you fail to reject the null because the nulls are just opposite of each other. So what I'll do is I'll take this thing and I'll write my own program. Copy paste अच्छा करना. Instead of ADF, put your KPSS test, and instead of this, इसको कर लो copy and KPSS कर लो यहाँ पे KPSS. We reject the null. Series is not stationary. Series is stationary. KPSS को कॉपी कर लेंगे, इसको यहाँ पर डाल देंगे. P value is 0.01. Since P value is less than 0.05, we reject the null. Series is not stationary. Okay. Series is not stationary. So if you want, you can design your own you can write your KPSS, which will help you. Okay, so only change तुम्हें यहाँ पे करना है, not and this. Everyone, please take few minutes, 5-10 minutes. Try running it on different series, differencing, non-differencing, and everything, and confirm me. ठीक है ना? So just don't stop after writing the code. Try executing it and see whether the output matches with your thought process. Check करिए please सब लोग.
Sir, at line number 21, I'm getting an error. It says could not convert string to float. Do I have missed any above code?
Which line?
21.
Then you check this thing ना, अपना air passenger data को check करो. The string to float. Check करो.
Okay, it's
Data को check
KPS.
करो. तुम्हारा data क्या ऐसा दिखता है?
It's similar.
It's similar or
done.
it is
Done,
exactly same?
Exactly. Done, sir.
ठीक है sir. Every others also please try. कोशिश करिए. Take 5-6 minutes and practice.
Sir? Hello? Hello, sir. Hello?
Okay. So anyone who is getting any error, any issues, कुछ problem आ रहा है, please बताओ.
Sir, I'm getting another time that error. I have imported pandas as PD. Then airpass is equal to pd.read CSV and I uploaded the file and airpass.head. So it's giving me records in month and passengers there. Then I did from stats models.tsa.stat tools import kpss. And in the next line, I did kpss airpass in bracket. So it's giving error, could not convert string to float, something, string to float. I think
अपने डेटा को ओपन करा.
Yeah. Can you scroll up, sir, if there any code to run?
तुम्हारा इशू अलग है. तुम्हारा इशू केपीएसएस एंड एडीएफ से बहुत पहले का है. तुम्हारा इशू डेटा क्लीनिंग से आ रहा है. ठीक है.
I missed first test now, that's why.
No. See, it's not about missing. ये छोटी चीजें अब हम लोग को आ जानी चाहिए. पाइथन खत्म होने को आ रहा है. अगर अभी भी तुम्हें लग रहा है कि वो cannot convert to float, उसका error आ रहा है, तो बड़ा I'm little bit.
Okay. I missed two lines. Please.
I'm little bit puzzled कि लोग अब ऐसा ही अगर इशू अभी भी सॉल्व नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. Anyone else, guys? सबको समझ में आ रहा है? आई होप लोगों ने ये प्रोग्राम सही से लिखा है, राइट?
Yes, sir.
यहाँ पे नॉट स्टेशनरी लिखा है और यहाँ पे स्टेशनरी लिखा है. दिस इज इन जस्ट अपोजिट विद योर over here, stationary and not stationary in ADF. ठीक है ना? Rest everything you can keep it as same. ठीक है. Okay. So try remembering these two tests, but the best way would be to check whether it is stationary or not. It is to explore to build your plot. Okay. But if you want to prove it statistically, KPSS and augmented diffusion. Okay. So let's move toward the last topic. Last topic basically, I'll say broader topic, that is our neural network. तुम्हारा सॉल्व हुआ जो भी क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा था?
Yes, sir, done.
Okay. क्या इशू था, क्या प्रॉब्लम करा हुआ था आपने?
वो कोड के नीचे की 2 लाइन मिस कर गया था मैं. airpass is equal to month to date time. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys. ठीक है, no problem. अच्छा, before we start into our neural network, expectation is that सब लोग please अपना notebooks open कर लो. Keep on making your notes. Notebook as in not Jupyter notebook, but wherever you guys make note, वो open कर लीजिए सब लोग. And theory एक बार start होगी तो lot of interesting facts will come, and I hope people will keep on making their notes. And normally, I don't expect a fresher to start working on neural network. If you are lucky enough, then probably you will work on neural network as a fresher. Otherwise, fresher को normally neural networks पे नहीं डाला जाता है, because because of its own challenges, right? But yes, time has changed in interviews. Sometimes people are asked few questions on the neural networks. Okay, and as and when as with the time the computing power is increasing. So previously the softwares were not that good, the hardwares were not that supportive, but time is changing. Very powerful laptops, machines, hardwares are coming, which can support neural network, and probably many organizations or many projects are expecting that neural networks to be implemented because now they can handle the computational cost at that time. And soon you will realize that neural network is not a uh, it's not a it comes with its own cost. It comes with its own cost. uh, Suppose if you are running your neural network model on the cloud, so it may take huge amount of resources, and on cloud platform everything is paid, so you have to pay for each and every uh, MIPS utilization or whatever, right? But try remembering the theory as much as possible. Normally, when I take a mock, I take it from a very simple level. So I may start with your asking the question on your, let's say, logistic regression and linear regression. And if the person keeps on answering, then probably I move towards the deep learning or the neural network. Okay. और अगर वो वहां पे भी आंसर कर लेता है, then anyway I don't have any other option but to clear him for the clear him. But normally it is not, you will not be saying that anyone is directly asking you from deep learning. अगर उसने proper data science उसको ढंग से पता है तो directly deep learning से पूछना नहीं चाहिए. Having said that, let's move towards the neural network or the deep learning. But please इसकी theory पे focus रखना. Subject of AI, everything is AI, Vedant. See, okay, so let's go through some sliders. And I'll go very slow today because I want the main part of deep learning or the neural networks to be discussed on Saturday and Sunday when I'm there in the class, and others are also there in the class. If you are there in the class, you will understand, your attention level would be much higher and you will understand more. But as of now, let's get started with a simple thing. So deep learning. So deep learning is a specialized form of machine learning that uses supervised, unsupervised technique to learn the patterns from the data. It is similar to the structure and functioning of the human nervous system, where the complex network of interconnected computation units work in pattern to solve a complex problem. Okay. They work in pattern to solve the complex problem. So these are just definitions. If you write them, okay. I'm not expecting you guys to remember these definitions. We are not a historical student कि हम लोग definitions याद रखें, but अगर याद रखोगे तो अच्छी बात है. अरे क्या हो रहा है? Something is... I think this is malfunctioning. अरे किसी ने मेरा सिस्टम हैक कर लिया क्या? जो लाइंस में ड्रॉ नहीं कर रहा वो भी ड्रॉ हो रही. अच्छा, नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट योर गाइस न्यूरल नेटवर्क. ठीक है. So you might have seen this type of diagram. So this outer part is your AI. AI is your artificial intelligence. Okay. The second circle, you can call it as a science. ये जो third वाला है, इसको तुम लोग बोल सकते हो न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स और NN, or you can also call as your DNN. D stands for your, ये D का मतलब है deep neural network. Some people also call as your ANN, artificial neural network. ठीक है, A stands for your artificial. So whether you call NN, DNN, ANN, all these are fancy terms used for one and the same thing. Okay, used for one and the same thing. So the outer circle is AI. The second most circle is data science. So this circle, which I am marking in green, पिछले 4 महीने से तुम लोग यही सब पढ़ रहे हो, right? So whether it is your linear logistic, decision tree, random forest, all these things, all the algorithms which you have studied till now were data science, and data science is obviously the part of your AI. So when you hear the word, जब तुम लोग AI word use सुनते हो तो क्या आता है माइंड में? AI, artificial intelligence. When you hear this word AI, what comes to your mind? कुछ इमेज आती है, कोई साइंस फिक्शन की मूवी आ जाती है, या कोई स्पेस मिशन आ जाता है, मार्स मिशन, व्हाटएवर, ठीक है? सो अगर वैसा आता है, which is okay. Now see, AI is anything where you are using the machine, where you're using the machine to solve the problem. And machine, as in I'm saying, let's say softwares. I'm not talking about the pair of scissor or pair of knife. Though they are also machine and they may also help you to solve, to overcome some of the problems. But I'm talking about, let's say, softwares, or gadgets. So anytime, anyway, anything or anywhere you are using machine to solve the problem. Now this problem can be as simple. This problem can be as simple as designing the loan application system, loan approval or rejection system. So a person comes to your bank to apply for a loan. And instead of you taking a decision, you feed the input in your software and the machine tells you that what are his chances of approval and rejection. So it can be as simple as that. And it can be as complicated as self-driven car. Okay, self-driven car. So in self-driven car also, you are taking the help of a machine to drive a car. So self-driven car is also an example of AI. And whether loan should be approved or rejected, it is a very simple thing. A person could have done manually also. That is also an example of AI. So anywhere where you are using the machine to solve your problem, it is known as your AI, artificial intelligence. तुमने अपनी इंटेलिजेंस की बजाय आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का यूज किया. You have used the artificial machine's intelligence to answer your problem, and that is why it becomes your AI. So within AI, data science is a subset. Data science is a subset. Whatever you have learned till this point, supervised, unsupervised, all these things were data science. Now within data science, there is another subset, that is your neural network or deep neural network or ANN. All these three terms refer to one and the same thing. Okay. Now this, whether you say NN or DNN, deep neural network, or ANN, artificial neural network, these are the subset of data science, and they are designed the way human brain works, or basically how humans learn. And that's why the word neural. That's why the word न्यूरल. सो ये वर्ड न्यूरल सबने पहले सुना होगा, न्यूरोसर्जन, न्यूरोपैथ. ओके, so the neuro refers to something related to your brain in medical terms, right? तुम्हारे ब्रेन से रिलेटेड जो भी चीज है उसके लिए वर्ड न्यूरल यूज करते हैं. सो न्यूरो सर्जरी, और देयर वाज अ न्यूरल अटैक और नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन, व्हाटएवर, राइट? एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी यूज द वर्ड न्यूरल, बिकॉज it is closely used with your brain, right? Now the question is, how does the humans learn? Guys, सब लोग भूल जाओ about neural network, but इंसान कैसे सीखता है ये तो बता ही सकते हो. How does a human being learns?
दूसरों को देखकर.
क्या, कैसे?
Sir, by observation.
By observation.
By observation, okay. Fair
By
enough.
past experiences.
By past experiences, okay. Anything else?
Practice.
Practice, which you guys don't do, ठीक है, but yes, practice is also ठीक है. कुछ और भी, कोई और भी तो तरीका होता है सीखने का.
Study, sir.
Pardon?
Study, sir. Study.
No, it's not only about a study. So whether you are learning to play football or cricket or whatever, तुम एक पायलट का कोर्स करो, चाहे एक डॉक्टर का कोर्स करो, कुछ भी, everything is a learning. I'm not just talking about the whether it is cooking or whether it is dancing or whatever.
Imagination.
Meditation.
Imagination.
Okay, ठीक है. मैं एक वर्ड सुनना चाह रहा हूँ जो कि ऐसा लग रहा है मुझे.
Sir, by
Trial and error.
Trial and error. And can I say the person also learns by making mistakes. By making mistakes and improving on it. ऐसा भी तो करता है ना? By making mistakes and by improving on it. ठीक है, गलती करी, पता चला, ट्रायल एंड एरर किया, क्या गलती थी उसको इम्प्रूव किया. अच्छा, now how does a human being learn? अच्छा, how does a kid, छोटा बच्चा learns to walk? कैसे चलना सीख लेता है वो, बताओ जरा. See, you might be thinking ये सब questions क्यों आ रहे हैं, but try answering them. Keep on thinking, and then I will connect all of them. And suddenly तुम्हें realize होगा जो neural network तुम्हें अब तक समझ में नहीं, तुम्हें कुछ नहीं आता था, तुम्हें suddenly तुम्हें बहुत सारी चीज समझ में आ जाएगी. I'll just connect all of them. So try answering it. How does a kid learns to walk? So when you were small, probably you don't know how you learn to walk. But तुमने अपने family या neighbors में कहीं तो देखा होगा, छोटा बेबी होगा, उसने चलना कैसे सीखा?
थोड़ा सर गिर के, फिर थोड़ा उठ के, थोड़ा
गिर के, थोड़ा उठ के. ओके, फेयर इनफ. यस.
सर पहले हाथों से चलता है, फिर पैरों से.
पहले कैसे चलता है?
With the help of hands moving forward, and then they are standing positions.
ओके, ठीक है, फेयर इनफ. So by falling again and again, Siddharth says, and Vaishnavi ने बोला थोड़ा गिर के, थोड़ा संभल के, ऐसा कुछ बोला. अच्छा, so whatever you guys are saying is absolutely right. There is no question that it's wrong. Everyone said one thing. किसी ने भी ये नहीं बोला कि हमने उसे चलना सिखाया. चलना बच्चे को कोई सिखाता नहीं है, वो खुद सीख जाता है. Unless until there is some special case, बच्चा अगर बहुत weak है or whatever. So let's say by the time baby is 10 months, he or she will do, he will try to stand up. पहले बेड का किनारा पकड़ के खड़ा होगा. He will hold some edge and try to stand up. And then probably what he will do, by holding that edge, slowly he'll try to take 1 or 2 steps. He will take 2 steps and then he'll fall down. But he doesn't give up. That is what the good thing in that child is, or rather in all the child is, that they fall down, but they are still trying. So a day will come when he will stand up using that edge, table or bed. He will take 1 or 2 steps. He will fall down, but then again he will stand up. Again he will try. So basically, knowingly or unknowingly, his brain is also getting trained. His brain is also getting trained that what good or what mistake he has been doing. And this process may continue for 1 week or 2 weeks. And then a day will come, he will take 1 step, 2 steps by removing his hand from the bed. He might take 2 steps, 3 steps, he will fall down. But the process continues for next 1 week, 2 weeks, and a day comes when probably he starts to walk. Okay, so basically, how did he learn to walk? He learned to walk on his own. On his own by repeating the process many times and learning from each previous step. Learning from the each previous step. Guys, tell me, will people agree to this part? कि बच्चे ने चलना ऐसे ही सीखा होगा?
Yes, sir.
Right? तुमने बच्चे को if you try to teach the kid that पहले अपना left leg आगे ले जाओ या right leg, तो उसने तुम्हारी बात सुननी नहीं है. Okay? You cannot teach a child that whether he should raise the left leg or right leg, or whether he should take a deep breath and then he should start to walk so that he can walk for more time. All these things you may say to that child, but those are immaterial. Child cannot understand all those things. The child is learning to walk on his own. Okay. And the same thing will happen in your neural network. How do my neural networks get trained? Try remembering how the child started to walk. You did not teach the child to walk. He learned on his own. He learned on his own. A day came and he started doing the practice. He tried for many times. He got the best combination, whichever was suitable for his body, his mind. If probably the person is the righty, then probably he might be using the right leg first. If it is a lefty, he might be using the left leg first, whatever. So different child might have learned in a different way. But at the end, everyone does learns to walk. The same thing will happen in your neural network. Why? Because neural means something connected to your brain. The neural networks will learn in the same way the way your brain learns. So neural networks would be iterative in nature. Remember, your K means it was iterative in nature. It may run for several times. And then probably your model converges. So same thing, it would be iterative in process. Okay? At every step or iteration, you try to reduce the error. Which means you are learning from the previous step. You try to reduce the error and your model keeps on getting better and better. Your model keeps on getting better and better. Okay. At every step, if you try to improve a bit, model will keep on getting better and better. You iterate the process number of times and you will reach a scenario where you have your the best model. Is the idea getting clear, guys? How the neural networks will get trained. So this is the broader picture. And now we will see how to reduce the error at each step. Then we will put some formulas and technicalities. But remember one thing, how will the neural network get trained? Remember, how does the baby learns to walk? Itni cheez yaad rakho. Okay. So as of now, I don't think any notes. Now, deep learning is a specialized form of machine learning that uses supervised and unsupervised technique to learn the patterns from the data. It is similar to the structure and the functioning of the human nervous system, where the complex network of the interconnected computation units work in pattern to solve the process of complex problem. Okay. Now, See, keep one more thing in mind. Human brain, can it solve complex problem? क्या complex problems को वो solve कर सकता है? बताओ.
No.
So it depends on individual.
If tried, he can solve.
अरे किसने नो बोला भाई? तुम्हें
It's
इंसान की
depend on his knowledge.
Obviously the answer to this question is yes. अरे इसी दिमाग ने तो सुपर कंप्यूटर बनाया है भाई. सुपर कंप्यूटर से लेके नासा का मिशन से लेके मार्स मिशन, जुपिटर, कुछ भी कर रहा है वो. So can it solve the complex problem? Answer is obviously yes. ठीक है. It can solve the complex problem, and that is where neural network should be used. You can use anywhere. Should be used where problem is complex. See guys, जिसने भी no बोला, he got confused with something different. He got confused with something different. Let me take an example. Let me say I have this thing. Let me say 78 into 96 plus 112 into 4.0732 divided by 1.45 into 197 minus 20 plus 30 into 140. अगर मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछूं, can you solve this?
Yes, sir.
Answer is obviously yes.
Yes.
Answer is obviously yes. Only thing is time taken
Will be more.
may be more. Time ज़्यादा लगेगा, लेकिन इंसान solve फिर भी कर देगा. ठीक है ना? So whatever decisions we are taking using the help of machine, human beings can do that calculation. But only thing is the time taken would be much more. ठीक है? Supercomputer का काम, if the person is supposed to do that big calculation, obviously the person can do, but the time taken would be very high. ठीक है? So when it comes to the big calculation, guys, when it comes to the big calculation, machine has advantage. Machine has advantage over human beings. ठीक है ना? So let me say, I may take 5 minutes to solve this. You guys may take only 2 minutes. Someone may take 6 minutes. Someone may take 7 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. किसी को हो सकता है पूरा दिन लग जाए. ठीक है? A person like Ramanujan may do it in less than a minute also. Fair enough. So varying upon person to person and his knowledge and his experience, the problem can be solved. But only thing is, if you do the same thing using the machine, machine will solve it faster than you. So when it comes to the calculation part, machines have advantage over the human beings. Now let me change the question. At any place or at any, for any scenario, do humans have advantage over machine? जो काम इंसान जल्दी कर सकता है, मशीन के लिए it is problematic. ऐसा कोई जगह है? ऐसा कोई सिनेरियो? ऐसा कोई प्रॉब्लम?
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, okay. Can you take some example of emotional intelligence?
So depending upon sentiments or
Okay.
Sir, means like humans are kind of empathic creatures, but we have to train the machines to be empathic first. They do not know.
Empathic as in to understand the feeling.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But
Sir,
मशीन आएगी जो फीलिंग समझ सके. I hope. अभी तक तो शायद मुझे नहीं लगता आई है. But okay, yeah, someone else was saying.
Sir, in NLP, when we were doing the sentimental analysis, that if there is a sarcastic comment, it used to give it a different stars or reviews. So it
Yes.
wasn't that kind of
Yes.
appropriate in.
Yes.
doing
So that is one place. So that's a very good example, Vedant. So for example, in your text reading, you read a sentence and you can directly say whether it's a positive or the negative sentiment. But the same thing is little problematic for the machine. It is problematic for the machine, especially if you are having a sarcastic comment. Movie was good and I enjoyed sleeping. It is a negative sentiment. And as a human being, you can directly answer it. But for a machine, it becomes a little tough task. And see, basically, many a times when you guys are talking, I'm not able to see your face. I don't even read the name who is talking. But based upon his voice, I can sometimes make out his name, that which person is talking. Okay. Now tell me, try answering this question. This question का जरा तुम लोग आंसर करो. So tell me, which one is male, which one is female? Very simple, obvious question, but still try answering it.
Left one is female.
That one is
Right one is
female.
male.
So one is female and second one is male, correct? Now, one is female and the second one is male. Fair enough. So everyone gave the right answer. Everyone gave the right answer, but I will nothing to be appreciated. So you are learning data science and you gave this answer. But let me say a child who was just 2 years, 3 years old, that would have also given the right answer. Now let me change my question and I say, why did you call image 1 as female and 2 as male? Q.
So because of the norm.
What's the difference between two images? अब जरा बताओ तुम लोग. What's the difference between the two images? क्या difference है?
hairs.
Okay, let me say both. Let me say both have two eyes. दोनों की आंखें तो दो हैं. They have one nose. They both have two eyebrows. They both have lips. They both have chin. They both have ears. They both have hairs. Then what's the difference? सब कुछ तो same है. दोनों में क्या फर्क है?
Sir, some facial features like beard and they can be said that it is a masculine side.
So beard तो है ही नहीं, दोनों में से किसी को नहीं है.
है ना sir?
No, वो थोड़ी भी छोड़ दो. And let's say if anyone was saying hair, दोनों के hair हटा देते. अब आओ, बात ही कर.
Sir, male and females are the term which is predefined by our childhood. We would have altered them. So the male could become female and female could be termed as male. That is the main difference.
But then why did you call one of them as female and another of them as male? चलो अब तो सबके दोनों के hairs हटा दिए. So it means when I have removed the hair, does your answer changes? You will still call one of the image 1 as female and image 2 as your male. It means the hairs were not the deciding factors. Something else was the deciding factor. Acha, let me change my question. How much time you took to answer this question? How much time you took to answer the question, which one is male, which one is female? Can I say within a second you were able to decide? तुमने image को देखा and you were ready with the answer that image 1 is female and image 2 is male. Am I right, guys? Will people agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It did not took any time for you to come to the conclusion. It did not took any time for you to come to the conclusion. So can I say in this scenario, the humans had advantage over the machine. And trust me, guys, whether the person is male or female, it is a very difficult thing for machine to answer. You may take several hours of training. It may take several hours of training, 5 hours, 6 hours of model training, and then only it can tell. And that too, every time, it may not be able to tell you with 100% accuracy. It may only tell you with 97, 98% of accuracy. Okay. So when it comes to the facial recognition, emotional recognition, voice recognition, let's say you are hearing a song on a radio, you can tell, okay, which could be the singer. Or if you're talking to your friend on a phone and you are not able to see his name and his face, but you can still recognize his voice. So voice recognition, it is a very simple thing for human beings, but it is a very difficult thing for machines. Okay. So in these scenarios, human beings have advantage over the machine. And now if everyone please note down one line, scenarios where humans have advantage over the machine. For those scenarios, neural network should be used. You can use neural network anywhere, but it should be used only where humans have advantage over the machine. You should be used only where humans have advantage over the machine. Only in those scenarios, neural network should be used. Is everyone clear to this point, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Ajay, now let's come back to this again question. So this question again. So people might be thinking, what has this to do with neural network? And I have said that try answering all the obvious questions. And then at one point, I will connect all of them. So if you look at both the images, probably can someone, so can I say that in image 1 and 2, there is a difference in forehead. So in the female, the forehead is little curved. And over here, it is a little bit kind of a square. क्या मैं ऐसे कह सकता हूँ? ठीक है. There is a little bit difference in the chin. The chin is much round. It is much round in female and it is less round in male. And similarly, you can say a bit about the jawline. इसकी jawline कुछ different है. And the jawline in female is little different. Okay. Now, so that is how probably your brain might have decided. So how did we learn? How did we learn to identify male and female? बताओ guys, ये question का answer करो. कौन male है, कौन female है? हमने कैसे सीखा?
Sir, by observation.
By observation, okay.
Identification patterns.
Identification patterns, okay. Acha, can I say that from my childhood, I have been seeing male and female and slowly my brain got trained? ऐसा ही तो हुआ होगा सबके साथ. क्या
Yes.
तुम्हारे मॉम एंड डैड ने कभी तुमको ये बताया कि इफ द चिन इज एट 30 डिग्री एंगल देन इट इज अ फीमेल, इफ इट इज लेस देन 30 डिग्री देन इट इज अ मेल, if the forehead is like this curved then it is a female, otherwise if it is a square then it is a male, if you have a thin jawline then it is a male, if you have a thick jawline then it is a female. Were you taught in the same way? No. How did you learn to differentiate between a image of a cat and a dog? Which image is of cat, or which animal is cat, which animal is dog? How did you learn? Can I say again? By seeing the photographs or the pictures. Teacher showed you the various teacher showed you the pictures of cat and few pictures of the dog, and you were able to automatically make the difference between cat and the dog, that which image is cat, which image is dog. Okay, so for dogs, can I say there are more than 100 breeds. ठीक है? So it can be Rottweiler, German Shepherd, whatever. कितने सारे breeds हैं? Did teacher show you all the 100 breeds? Did teacher showed you all the 100 breeds of dog? बताओ please. जब
No, sir.
class, क्या उसने तुम्हें सारे 100 breeds of dog दिखाए थे?
No,
No.
Answer is no. Maximum she might have shown you 5 to 6 different breeds, or in your near neighborhood, near your school, near your home, probably you might have seen 2 or 3 breeds more. In your society, if someone has a pet, you might have seen. So maximum you might have seen 7 to 8 breeds of dog. But even if a new breed, even if you see a new breed of dog, you can still identify, because your brain has automatically learned the pattern. Your brain is not hard-coded. Your brain is not hard-coded. उसने mimic नहीं किया data. So it has learned the pattern. It has learned the pattern. Okay, the dogs normally look like this thing. So even if you have not seen the German Shepherd previously, neither in photograph, neither in reality, if the German Shepherd dog comes, if you see the German Shepherd dog, you are still able to make it out that it is a German Shepherd, that it is a dog. You may not be able to tell about the breed, but you would still be 100% right that it is still a dog. You haven't seen all the breeds of the cat, but if you still see a cat, you are still able to recognize, okay, that this is a cat. You don't know which breed that cat is. Okay, so that is how the human beings learn. So basically, how human beings learn, or how did you learn? We saw many images of cat and dog, and we slowly started to learn and find, and I'll not say and differentiate between cat and dog. And cat and dog is just an example. It can be anything. So which one is male, which one is female? Okay, so you saw many images and you slowly learn them. So when the teacher was teaching you which image is cat and dog, she never told you that if a mustache is 2 inches long, then it is a cat. Otherwise, it is a dog. If tail is 10 centimeter long, then it's a cat. Otherwise, it's a dog. क्या टीचर ने हमें कुछ ऐसा बताया था? Answer is no. Teacher showed you the image of the cat and she told you that this is a cat. Then she showed you the image of dog and told that this is the image of a dog. And slowly your brain learn. And that is how your neural networks will also learn. So I will show them the photographs and I'll tell them this one is male, this one is female, and I'll run the process multiple times. Okay. So basically in neural network, no feature engineering. Please ये line note करेंगे सब लोग. In neural network, no feature engineering. Just note this line. No feature engineering. You don't do any feature engineering. You don't extract the features. Neural networks work on raw data. Neural networks work on the raw data. You don't extract the features. Okay. The best way of extracting the feature is something like this. Okay. ये image सबको दिख रही है?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me say before neural networks, if you wanted to build an algorithm to differentiate between male and female, then you would have to do feature engineering, like in this picture. So in this picture, do you notice I am measuring the angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these angles would be different for males and different for females. So if you were not using the neural network, then what you have to do, you have to sit with your apparatus and instruments, and you have to measure the angles, angle 1, 2, 3, 4. And then probably you need to feed that data into your algorithm. And that is how your algorithm will learn. But did we learn the way the photograph is shown over here? Did your parents or mom, dads, or anyone told you that if angle 1 is 30 degrees, then it is likely to be female? Or if angle 2 is 15 degrees, then it is likely to be male? ऐसा कुछ हमें बताया गया था क्या? हमारे पेरेंट्स को ही नहीं पता होगा, या किसी को पता ही नहीं है कि कौन सा एंगल होता है. What is the value of angle 9 or what is the value of angle 8 or whatever, right? We were not taught like this. ठीक है? So before neural network, if you wanted to build a male and female algorithm, which can differentiate between which images of male, which image is of female, then you might have to do the feature engineering. Feature engineering means you would have to extract the features. You would have to extract the values for different angles and all those things, and feed that thing in your model. But in neural network, what we will do, we will show the multiple images. Remember one thing, how the neural network will learn? The way you learn. How did I learn? I saw the multiple photographs of multiple males and females, and then we started to differentiate between male and female. Similarly, your model will also run. I will not pass these values. I will show hundreds and thousands of images of males and female. I will run my model several times, iterative process, and slowly my model will be able to differentiate between male and female. Now tell me guys, any doubt, any question till this point? अभी तक याद रखना, कोई फॉर्मूला नहीं, कोई थ्योरम नहीं, कुछ नहीं, सिर्फ ह्यूमन ब्रेन कैसे काम करता है वो बता.
No, sir.
And probably today, surprisingly, today you might have got the idea how human brain is working. हमारा brain कैसे सीख रहा था. It was an obvious thing, but probably we never realized. What about others, guys? Are they clear? So why I'm asking, because as of now, theory, actual theory hasn't started. कोई formula नहीं, कोई diagram नहीं, no mathematical concept as of now. Okay, so I hope people are with me till this point at least. Bhupesh, Dhruv, Kalpesh, Karthik,
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sushant,
Yes, sir.
बताओ
Sir, yes, sir.
समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, ठीक. अगर यहाँ तक समझ में आया तो it is fair enough. Take your some 15-20 minutes break. Let's meet at 11:30 and then we will continue for let's say 1 more hour. And उसके बाद थोड़ा थोड़ा जैसे जैसे तुम लोग समझते जाओगे वैसे वैसे हम लोग आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे, थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेट करते जाएंगे. And I will teach you the neural networks the way your brain learns. And how will your brain learn? I will repeat my statements multiple times till the time your brain understands. ठीक है, iterative process रखेंगे. ठीक है, जैसे तुमने बचपन से सीखी चीजें वैसे ही मैं तुम्हें आज भी सिखाऊंगा. ठीक है ना? And slowly your brain would be able to understand the neural network. With this, please take your 15-20 minutes break. Let's meet around 11:30 and we'll continue further. I'll go on mute for some time. Okay, guys. So can we get started? I hope everyone is back from the break. Please confirm if I'm audible, and then let's get started.
Yes, audible.
Audible? Okay. So let's go through the slides. We'll go a little bit quickly. Please give me a minute. Achha, so we have already seen the slider. Let's move across. So neural network definition, ANN is a computing system made up of number of simple, highly interconnected processing elements, which process information by their dynamic state response to the external input. So these definitions, obviously, guys, these are not my definition. These are the standard definitions available. And so if you read this English sentence, seems to be quite complicated, quite mesmerizing. ANN is a computing system made up of number of simple, highly interconnected processing elements, which process information by their dynamic state response to internal input, whatever. So while you read, it seems to be quite complicated, but in a way, this definition is very simple. So number of simple, highly intercomputed processing elements, which process information by their dynamic state. See, basically, the human brain consists of millions or billions of cells, or you can say neurons. Okay, millions or billions of cells or neurons. Now, each neuron or each cell on its own is a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. But when these cells combine and interact, they can do very complicated task also. A very complicated task. Okay. So each cell, so a human brain may have millions or billions of cells. Probably you can search at how many cells average human brain has, or how much percentage of brain do a human being use. All those information you can easily get from the net. So each cell on its own, it's a very simple one. It cannot do a very complicated task. A single cell cannot do a very complicated task. But when these cells interact with each other, when they pass the information input from one cell to the another cell, then this brain can do a very complicated task. And the very same thing is written over here. ANN is a computing system made up of simple, highly interconnected processing element. This is nothing but a cell. Each cell which process information by their dynamic state. Dynamic state as in the current state, the state of movement, response to the external input. So each cell takes an input from the previous cell, does some calculation, passes the information to the another cell. Okay. And that is how your models get trained, or your brain also functions. Okay. Brain also functions. Now, tell me one thing. So, in this image, let me say image 1, and image 2, if I ask a question, which image is of male and which of female, you are able to give the right answer. But if I ask another question, why male and why female? Why male and why female? No one can answer this question. No one can answer this question. Why? Because we cannot quantify the difference. We cannot quantify the difference. I cannot tell whether the angle 1, so let me say this is the angle 1. Whether angle 1 is at 90 degree or 30 degree or 40 degree, that is why I'm calling male or female. You cannot quantify the difference, but you can find the difference. Okay. So basically in neural networks, you cannot interpret the model. You cannot interpret the model. You cannot tell why a particular decision as in prediction was done. Your neural networks may give you very good model, but you cannot tell what was the reason or the rationale behind that answer. Why? Because human brains also cannot give the answer. So neural network can also not give you the answer. If you ask this question, why image 1 is male, or sorry, why image 1 is female and image 2 is male, you cannot answer that question. You cannot do feature selection or the feature importance. If a decision was taken, then why a decision was taken. That why part cannot be answered in your neural network. Why? Because that cannot be answered even in your human brain, cannot be answered by your human brain. Is this point clear to everyone? Everyone, please make a note of this line. These two statements को सब लोग please note down करेंगे. You cannot interpret the model.
Done, sir.
Okay, guys, just give me 1 minute. I'm getting one call. Let me take that call. ओके ठीक है, सो सबने नोट डाउन कर लिया. लेट्स मूव अहेड. अच्छा, relationship between AI and deep learning. So machine learning is the approach or subset of AI that is based upon the idea that machines can be given access to data along with ability to learn from it. Deep learning takes machine learning to the next level. So this diagram I have already explained. Okay, so if you want, you can just make a note of it. If you wish, I'll just wait for a minute. There's nothing mathematical thing involved over here. Okay, ठीक है. Let's move ahead. Now this is the important slide. सब लोग इस स्लाइड के सारे पॉइंट्स को नोट डाउन करेंगे. And just wait for a minute. Let's first discuss and then probably you make a note of it. Usage, advantage of neural network, and then you have your drawbacks of neural network. So advantage, what is advantage? It is used in NLP, image recognition, and computer vision. What is the drawback? High memory intensive operation, computational and time demanding. This is a very big drawback of neural network. When you will do the coding, you will realize this drawback. It's a high memory intensive operation, computational and time demanding. So it is a RAM intensive operation. It may take a heavy amount of calculation. And if you are paying for the calculations, then you have to pay a lot of amount. So if all these calculations are being done on your cloud, then the amount of money you have to invest would be huge. And obviously many operations. So you might be thinking, why do I need to do on the cloud? I can do on my laptop. The answer is yes, you can do on the laptop. If it is a small problem. If it is a very big problem, then your laptops will not support. Even 16 GB, 32 GB or 100 GB laptop also may not support some huge amount of calculations. So some processors may run for 1 day, 2 day, 1 week, 1 month also, depending upon how big the data is and how much is the computation. Okay. Very general and adaptive. This is a advantage. See, remember, human beings can work on any type of problem. And since neural networks mimic the human brain, they can also be used for any purpose. Tuning of the hyperparameter is a very tricky task. This is a very important point and very significant drawback. Do people remember what is hyperparameter? सबको याद आता है? Hyperparameter क्या होता है? Please बताइए.
Hyperparameter.
The user can control it.
User can control it.
Yes, so they are not part of the inherent data, but user can control it. So for example, let's say the number of trees in your random forest, whether you want to create the tree using the Gini or entropy, depth of the tree. So these were kind of hyperparameters in your decision tree random forest. Over here, the number of hyperparameters or the combinations of hyperparameters can be in thousands, or sometimes it can be in millions also. Okay. It can directly work on the raw data. So I have already taken this example and I have told you that you don't need to do any feature engineering. They can work on the raw data, the same thing. So if that is the advantage, what is the disadvantage? It is a kind of gray box. It is difficult to understand how the decision was arrived. Okay, so I have already told you, you can make the right decision, but you cannot tell why the decision was made. Because keep this example, you know which image is of male, which is of female. You can differentiate between the image of cat and a dog. But then what exactly is the difference? Okay. Please make a note of this thing and then let me know. Done, guys?
Yes, sir.
It is a kind of grape. It's difficult to understand why the decision was correct. Now, let's move further. Male, female. ये हमने कर लिया, ये कर लिया. Ignore this thing. Now, let's come to this slide. So people might might have seen these type of diagrams somewhere. So if you go to the, let me say, if you go somewhere, let me say you go to, just say neural nets. Okay, you go to the images. So you will see all the fancy images. जिसका जैसा मन किया उसने वैसा बना दिया. Okay, so this is so this image is kind of your human brain, right? So how your neurons are connected. The same concept is being used in your neural network, the same concept. So you may see some fancy images. So from there itself, I have taken few of the images and I pasted over there. But try reading this portion. Try reading this line. Dhruv, tum ye please padho.
Yes, sir. An artificial neuron is a mathematical function based on the model of biological neurons, where each neuron takes the inputs, weighs them separately, does the summation, and this summation is passed through a non-linear function, activation function, to produce the output. Another name of neuron is perceptron.
Okay, okay. Thanks for reading. Kalpesh, you read it once more.
An artificial neuron is a mathematical function based on the model of biological neurons, where each neuron takes the inputs, weighs them separately, does the summation, and this summation is passed through a non-linear function, activation function, to produce the output. Another name of neuron is perceptron.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Sushant, you read it once more. Sushant Patnaik. Sushant, can you hear me? Okay, Sushant is not answering. Vaishnavi, you read it. So I think there are a few who have just logged in and went off. Huh?
Okay, an artificial neuron is a mathematical function based on the model of biological neurons, where each neuron takes the input, weighs them separately, does the summation, and this summation is passed through a non-linear function, activation function, to produce the output. Another name for neuron is perceptron.
Another name for neuron is perceptron. Thanks. Thank you, Vaishnavi. You can go on mute. And yeah, see guys, I know I made you guys read this few lines 3 times, but still probably you don't understand much about it. So artificial neuron is a mathematical function. What is this function? Based upon the model of biological neuron, where each neuron takes the input, weighs them separately, does a summation, non-linear function, activation function. What are all these things? Probably you don't understand much at this moment. Okay. So this is slide number 9. So slide number 9 as of now is not much clear to you, but a day will come when you read this statement, you would be able to understand this statement. Probably let's say after 5 hours or 6 hours of effort, again we will come back to this slide, and again I'll ask you guys to read it. And if you are able to understand these few lines, probably now you have started to understand the neural network. तुम्हें अब neural network समझ में आ गया है, ठीक है ना? So as of now, there are many things which you don't understand. What is non-linear? What is activation? Okay, what is this mathematical function? What are these inputs? What is this summation? and where it is passed and how it is passed. All these things we will learn separately, and then we will combine them, and then you will understand the entire concept. Okay. So key features and assumptions. Let's move forward. Remember this slide number 9. As of now, you don't understand, but a day will come when you will understand. And if you understand that, probably you understand the neural network. Key features and the assumptions. So deep learning is a branch of machine learning based upon set of algorithms that attempt to model high level and hierarchical representation using multiple processing layers. Main assumption in DL. DL is nothing but your deep learning, or you may say neural network or deep neural network or artificial neural network. All these are one and the same. Everything needed to solve the problem can be learned from the data. Employing a large number of very simple computational units, we can solve the complex problem. So basically this statement, everything needed to solve the problem can be learned from the data. It is nothing but this very same point. It can directly work on the raw data. You will not tell what is the difference between cat and dog. You will show him the images of cat and dog, and the person will learn how to differentiate between cat and dog. Okay. Employing a large number of very simple computational units, we can solve the complex problem. So what is computational unit? A neuron is a computational unit. On its own, a neuron is a very simple unit. But if you combine many neurons, it can solve a complex problem. So if a problem is very simple, you may use only few neurons. If a problem is very complicated, you increase the number of neurons. That what is our assumption is. ठीक है, यहाँ तक सबको clear है guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please write down these 2 lines and try remembering them, है ना? अगर प्रॉब्लम सिंपल है तो थोड़े से न्यूरॉन यूज करो, प्रॉब्लम कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है तो ज्यादा यूज करो. ठीक है. So how do automatically learn from data? All these things we will do. ठीक है.
Sir, can you show that slide for 1 minute?
Which slide? ये वाला?
Sir, that main assumption. Main assumptions.
Yes, sir. Yes. This.
Okay.
Done, sir.
What about others, guys? Have they done it?
So 1 minute. Done, sir.
Done? Okay, ठीक, fair enough. So see, in this PPT there are मतलब बहुत सारे sliders हैं. So don't worry, I am not going to take each and every slider. ठीक है ना? So as much as is needed for you, I'll project it, because normally for some other forums where I may take some other sessions also. So not everything you would be enforced to learn. Achha, now common terms used in neural networks: convergence, cost function, gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, learning rate decay, overfitting, and cross validation. Okay. Now probably I can say that neural network is probably starting. Okay. Neural network is probably starting. But normally when I take neural network, I first of all I teach these 7 terms. But इस बार तुम्हारे बैच में एक नया experiment करते हैं. Let's go with the little reverse engine. Let's talk about the activation function, which is probably the most important thing. Activation function. And I can say you have heard about this word activation function previously in your life. देख रहे हो यहाँ पे एक वर्ड आया था एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, नॉन लीनियर फंक्शन, एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, ठीक है ना. सो लेट्स डिस्कस द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग फर्स्ट, एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन. अच्छा, now see, remember one thing in neural network, they are designed based upon your human brain. They are designed based upon your human brain. So most of the things are being taken from the same concept how your human or how the human beings learn. Now, human beings are also using a activation function. In your brain, activation function is there. You might be using that thing as an activation function. You may not have used this word activation function, but हमेशा तुम्हारे माइंड में एक ऐसी चीज काम कर रही है, and I will prove it. So many a times when I am taking a lecture, तुम लोग मेरी बात ध्यान से नहीं सुनते हो, ऐसा बहुत बार हो सकता है. But if I say, guys, this is very important, and this type of question can come in your mock or it can be asked in interview, then suddenly your attention level increases. ऐसा कभी नोटिस किया तुम लोग ने अपने साथ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ऐसा किया है? मैं
Yes.
तो कंटिन्यू I am ऐसा किया है. Okay, so I am speaking continuously, but your attention level changes as soon as I say this is very important or this type of things can be asked. So what I am speaking is the input for you, but for you, whatever I am speaking, not everything is of same important. हर एक चीज तुम्हारे लिए उतनी important नहीं है. So when I say that this is important and can be asked in your Viva, then suddenly your brain cells get activated and you give more importance to whatever I speak after that, that this is important. Now, as soon as I say, take your 20 minutes break, your brain cells are activated and probably you're delighted. And the way you perceive that statement and the way you have perceived the previous statement, you have perceived those two statements in a different way. Will people agree to it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So मैं तो continuously बोल रहा हूँ, लेकिन तुमने कुछ चीज को important माना, कुछ को ignore कर दिया, ठीक है? And that is why, because see, the human brain is bombarded with lot of information, and not all the information is important. Not all the information is as important, I can say. So somewhere you need to give more importance. Somewhere you need to filter out the information. So basically activation function, what you want to do is you want to separate the not important information. The information which is not important, you don't want to process it. And the information which is important, probably you want to process only that information. That is the inherent concept of activation function. That is the inherent concept of activation function. तुम्हारे brain में already एक activation function है. We only thing is we don't know we cannot represent that activation function in terms of equation. We cannot represent it in terms of y is equal to mx plus c, or whether it is a cuboid function or polynomial function, we don't know. But human brain has some kind of activation function. It tries to differentiate between a significant and insignificant information. Okay, let's take another example. So for example, let's say you are cooking in a kitchen and you touch let's say cup and it is just hot. It is little bit hot. थोड़ा ही सा गर्म था. Then probably you do not remove your hand. तुम अपना हाथ जल्दी से नहीं हटाते. But if it was very hot, then what do? You suddenly pull the hand. So let's say cup A and cup B. Now both A and B were hot. So human body का temperature होता है around 38 degree और कितना होता है I don't know. Let me say around 36 degrees centigrade or whatever. Both A and B, the temperature of A and B was more than 36, the body temperature. But in A, you do not pull the hand. In B, you pull the hand. It means there is some kind of, it means the temperature, there is some barrier or some limit above which, if the temperature is there, if the temperature is there, your brain takes it significant. And below it, it takes it insignificant. बताओ guys, do you agree with this? Again, no mathematical function. ये common चीज है जो तुम अपनी life में हमेशा से देखते आए हो. If it is bit hotter, you suddenly remove it. If it is not that hot, you don't remove your hand. Okay. If an instruction, so let's say you were studying in your college. If you are studying in your college and an instruction comes from your teacher and the same instruction comes from your principal, the importance which you give to them probably is different because you have attached a different importance. Okay. So, and not only in your college or anywhere, but let's say you are traveling on a road and you have a fight. तुम्हारी जिनसे लड़ाई होती है and जिससे तुम्हारी लड़ाई हो रही है, he is a very thin and weak person. Then the way you will fight with him would be different. And if a person is quite tall and powerful, तो तुम उससे कुछ अलग टाइप से लड़ाई करोगे. हो सकता है तुम उससे लड़ाई ना करो. So based upon and whether, and let's say the person whom you are arguing is a police person, policeman or traffic person, whatever. So the way you interact with him is different. The issue is same with all the three people, but your output probably changes. Your output probably changes. Information is same, but the way you perceive probably changes. The another level of activation is generated. So the same concept is used in your activation function. Now let me write one line. You are continuously getting the information, but to differentiate between significant and insignificant information, we use the activation function. We use the activation function. This is the basic idea of the activation function. Now, till this time, I haven't used any equation or any diagram. Now I am going to enter into a really important thing. That is a ReLU. ReLU is an example of an activation function. And guys, please mark this ReLU with very high importance. वो डेटा साइंटिस्ट ही क्या, वो इंसान ही क्या जिसको न्यूरल नेटवर्क तो पता है बट ReLU पता नहीं है. So ReLU stands for your rectified linear unit. It is an example of an activation function. So there can be other activation functions also, but ReLU is the most important, highly used, and we would also be using. It stands for your rectified linear unit. So since ReLU is an example of activation function, the purpose of ReLU is same. रेलू का जो पर्पस होगा वो तो सेम ही होगा, बिकॉज रेलू इज एन एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन. एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेश्चंस टिल दिस पॉइंट बिफोर आई एंटर इनटू रेलू? रेलू समझाना स्टार्ट करूं, यहां तक कोई दिक्कत है? एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, द कंसेप्ट वाइज, द लार्जर आइडिया गाइस, टेल.
No.
Sir.
नो, ठीक है. नाउ रेलू स्टैंड्स फॉर रेक्टिफाइड लीनियर यूनिट एंड इट इज अ non-linear function. It is a non-linear function. Everyone please make a note of it and इसको lifetime याद रख लो कि ये non-linear function है. ये non-linear function है, दिखने में linear है पहली नजर में, but है non-linear. And in next 2 minutes you will understand why it is non-linear. But make a note of this. It is a non-linear function. Again I am repeating. गलती से भी उसको लीनियर मत बोलना. इट इज अ नॉन लीनियर. ठीक है, इट इज अ नॉन लीनियर फंक्शन. नाउ लेट मी ड्रॉ द डायग्राम ऑफ रेलू. रेक्टिफाइड लीनियर यूनिट. एवरीवन प्लीज ऑब्जर्व इट फ्रॉम द वेरी स्टार्टिंग. दिस डायग्राम प्रॉब्ली इट्स वेरी सिंपल. अगर किसी ने शेयर मार्केट में करा है, कॉल पुट वगैरह आता है, तो उसको ये डायग्राम उसने शायद पहले देखा होगा, बट नथिंग टू डू विद शेयर मार्केट. थोड़ा सा सिमिलरिटी आता है, दिखता है. सो एक्स एक्सेस, वाई एक्सेस. दिस इज योर फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट, दिस इज योर सेकंड क्वाड्रेंट, दिस इज योर थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट, दिस इज योर फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट. द सिंपल थिंग, इन फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट your x is also positive and y is also positive. In second quadrant your x is negative but y is positive. In third quadrant x is negative, y is also negative. In fourth quadrant your x is positive and y is negative. Can I say that people are clear with this point? ये तो बड़े simple mathematics से concept है. It is nothing new with data science. ऐसा कुछ data science से new तो नहीं है. Everyone please confirm. ये चीज clear है, idea सबको?
Yes, sir.
जिसका यूज होने वाला है बस अभी. ठीक है ना? So this much I assume that people are clear. ठीक है. Now remember one thing. We are continuously getting the information. So इसको मान लो x. जो इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है वो कंटिन्यूअसली आ रही है. But to differentiate between significant and insignificant, we use activation function. So information is coming continuously, so you can take it as x. The whatever continuous information you are getting, whether it is significant or insignificant or whatever, that can be taken as your y. And normally we say that y depends on x. Y depends upon x. This is nothing new. We have been building model. So whether it is a text information or whether it is your information is in numbers. So even if it is text, you convert your text into numbers. Machines can understand only the numbers. Remember, so whatever may be the information, for machine the information would be number. Will people agree to that point? Whether it is text document, image document. So image is nothing but a number. You will soon realize that image is also nothing but a number. So pixel value. Okay. So whether it is a text, whether your data is already in numbers, for machine the input is always in numbers. Okay. Now, guys, please observe this thing. So where is this line? This line is in second quadrant, guys. So on this red line, for this red line, can I say for this red line, can I say that y is equal to 0 and x is less than or equal to 0? Will people agree to this thing? इस red line पे तो यही values होंगी. सब लोग ध्यान से देखो एंड बताओ क्या ये चीज समझ में आती है?
Yes, sir. I agree.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Only see this red line. On this red line, x would be less than or equal to 0 and y is equal to 0. Y is equal to 0. कहाँ गया भाई? ठीक है ना? So basically what is happening, if x is less than or equal to 0, y is 0. ये क्या हो गया? ये इस रेड लाइन की इक्वेशन हो गई भाई साहब. नाउ this angle is 45 degree. This angle is 45 degree. Okay. This angle is 45 degree and this line passes through origin. Acha, if line is at 45 degree, then can I say tan 45 is equal to 1? Which means slope is equal to 1. Bolo haan ya na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Again, it has nothing to do with data science. ऐसा नहीं कि ये मैंने derive करा, ये basic thing है. If line is at 45 degree, then slope has to be 1. Okay. Now, what is the equation of straight line? Equation of a straight line is equal to y is equal to mx plus c. So for this line, can I say the slope would be equal to 1? So equation would be y is equal to x plus c. But since it is passing through the origin, ये origin से pass हो रही है, so c would be equal to 0, which means the equation would be y is equal to x. Take 1 minute, 2 minutes, but everyone please confirm either you agree with my statement or you disagree. Guys,
Yes,
see,
sir.
if a line is at 45 degrees, slope has to be 1, and if line is passing through origin, then your intercept is 0. What is c? C is nothing but your intercept, or you can say it is nothing but your intercept on your y-axis. But अगर line origin से pass कर गई तो y-intercept तो 0 होने ही वाला है. So it means the equation of this green line is y is equal to x. बराबर?
Yes.
सब लोग agree कर गए? That equation of this green line is y is equal to x. Okay. So in above diagram, 0 is acting as a threshold. 0 is acting as a threshold. Remember, if you touch a plate which is little bit more hotter, you remove your hand. If it is less hotter, you don't remove a hand. So एक टेम्परेचर होगा, उसके ऊपर तुम हाथ सडनली हटा लोगे, उसके नीचे तुम हाथ नहीं हटाओगे. So over here, 0 is acting as a threshold. If x, and what is x? X is nothing but your input, is greater. If x is less than 0, or if it is 0, then y is equal to 0. Y, and what is y? Y is nothing but your output. If x is less than 0, which means if your input is less than 0, then y is 0. And what is y? Y is nothing but output. And if y is less than or equal to 0, if y is less than or equal to 0, it means no output is generated. So zero output means no output. It means this information is not significant. वो information मेरे लिए significant नहीं है. I can ignore that information. Okay. If x is greater than 0, which is on this green line, which is on the green line, it means input is significant. And if input is significant, then output is equal to input. Why? Because y is equal to x. Y is equal to x. Agar input significant hai, then value of output is equivalent to your input. Guys, is everyone clear with this thing? What
Yes,
is
sir.
x? X is nothing but your input. If input is less than or equal to 0, then no output is generated. If x is greater than 0, then output is equal to input. X is greater than 0 is represented by your green line. And x is less than 0 is represented by your red line. And this red line plus green line, if you combine both of them, it is nothing but your ReLU function. ये जो diagram है, this diagram represents your ReLU. This diagram represents your ReLU, rectified linear unit. It is used to differentiate between your significant and the insignificant input. Which input is significant? Which input is not significant? See, now everyone again have a look. Again have a look. I'm going to draw the line in front of you. Okay. Something is happening. Okay. Much better. So even I learned from my mistake. X-axis, y-axis. Now, on this, x is less than or equal to 0. So y is equal to 0. On this green line, this is at 45 degree. X is greater than 0. And that is why y is equal to x. So try remembering this part. Okay. And this entire diagram is nothing but your ReLU. It is nothing but your ReLU. So if someone asks you, and if you have a privilege to use your pen, paper, or whatever, if you can draw it, probably just draw it and explain to him, and that person will understand. Okay. Now, why it is non-linear, or is it linear? Guys, बताओ क्या ये linear है या non-linear है?
Non-linear.
Non-linear क्यों?
दिखने में तो
अभी तो linear है सर.
Because both the lines are inclined at certain angle.
दिखने में तो linear है. उबैद, you complete your statement. क्या आप बोल रहे थे? Starting से बोलिए.
Because the green and red lines are inclined at a certain angle. Though the individual lines are linear, but combination is at a certain angle.
See, now, actually what he said is right, but probably वो शायद अच्छे से explain नहीं कर पाया. See, over here you are having two straight lines. One is your red line, one is your green line. So your mind may be saying, okay, भाई ये तो linear है. No, but it is a non-linear. Why? Because this red plus green is ReLU. See, remember one thing, in linear function, if it is a linear function, slope remains same. Agar linear function hoga, then slope will never change. But over here, can you notice the slope changes? The slope of red is different and the slope of green is different. So the combination of red plus green is non-linear, and that is why it is a non-linear function. Till the time x is not greater than 0, whether it is minus 1 million or minus 1000 or minus 1, output is 0. As soon as it crosses 0, your y becomes equal to x. It means slope has changed. And since the slopes are changing and it is not fixed during the entire function, it means it's a non-linear function. Is the point getting clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
तो दुनिया इधर की उधर हो जाए, लेकिन प्लीज कंफ्यूज नहीं होना. इट इज अ नॉन लीनियर फंक्शन बिकॉज दो अलग अलग लाइन, दोनों का स्लोप अलग अलग, तो हो गया नॉन लीनियर फंक्शन एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, नॉन लीनियर एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन. And please remember this diagram. It's a very simple diagram. Remember this combination. So if you know what are the values in first, second, third, fourth quadrant, remembering this diagram is very simple. Okay? But ReLU is an activation function. It is used to differentiate between significant and insignificant. And if you say that you know neural network, but if you don't know ReLU, then probably it is like you stay in India and you don't know what is the capital of India. ऐसा कुछ problem आ जाएगा life में, ठीक ना? It is that important concept. Why? Because on top of ReLU, you will see some your another function also. You will see your leaky ReLU also. Okay, leaky ReLU, and then another type of ReLU, soft plus, will also come. Soft plus. Okay, that we will discuss later on once you are much more comfortable with neural network. ठीक ना? उसको हम लोग थोड़ा बाद में देखेंगे. ठीक है? But as of now, for today, I'll not go any further. ठीक है? Tomorrow, I wish though all those who are visiting the class, please visit the class. Ganesh festival is almost done. आज सब विसर्जन भी हो जाएगा. ठीक है? So there won't be any traffic issues from tomorrow, and people should be back. So मैं तुम लोग को कुछ वीडियोस देखने को बोल रहा हूँ. अगर टाइम लगे तो देखना, अगर नहीं तो फिर बात ही नहीं. यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ सिंपल से वीडियोस डाले, ऑलमोस्ट ऑन द सेम साइड. सी, यहाँ पे जाना लर्न डेटा साइंस विद प्रांजल, प्ले लिस्ट में जाना, और प्ले लिस्ट में कुछ तो तुम्हारा न्यूरल नेटवर्क होगा. ये प्ले लिस्ट में जाके न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स को देख लेना. ठीक है? ये इसको न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स को देख लेना. तो यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ वीडियोस डाले, 5 to 6 वीडियोस हैं. ट्राई सीइंग इट इफ यू गेट टाइम.
I think so. It is a private video.
प्राइवेट वीडियो नहीं, कोई प्राइवेट वीडियो नहीं होगा. यू कैन इजीली सी ऑल दोस वीडियोस. देखो ना. अरे मेरे
Sir, they are long.
कैसे आ रहे हैं? आई डोंट नो. यहाँ से जाके देखना. इज इट प्राइवेट? ठीक है, पता नहीं प्राइवेट की सेटिंग कहाँ से आ गई. ठीक है, यहाँ पे जाके देखना है, देन प्रॉब्ली यू कैन स्कोर इट. ठीक है? ठीक है, देखना और फिर मेरे को बताना कैसे लगा, और लाइक वाइक दे देना, थोड़ा कमेंट डाल देना तुम लोग. ठीक है गाइस, सो विद दिस आई विल एंड द सेशन एंड वी विल मीट टुमारो इन द class. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow I will be visiting the class. So those who can come, please come. Okay. And another expectation for tomorrow's class would be whatever we have discussed today, please revise it. Okay, please revise it and come, because actual theory, all those complications, softmax function, how the networks actually works, how the message is passed from one layer to the another layer, all those complicated things are yet to start. So please revise whatever we have done today and come prepared with it. Okay? Okay, guys. So with this, I'll end the session. Thank you for
Bye.
Thank you, sir.